There's an urgent need to integrate trade finance law training and expertise into the ongoing Intra-Africa trade agreement promotion across the continent. That was according to the immediate past president of the Nigerian Bar Association, the NBA, Olumide Akpata, while speaking with Arise business correspondent Bosun Mofoye at the Afri-Exim annual meetings in Accra, Ghana. The former NBA chief also asked the government to include professional legal experts in the preparation of international trade agreements and contracts. Let's take a listen.
Mr. Akpata is here, who was the immediate past president of the Nigerian Bar Association. And when we talk about intra-Africa trade and all that, one of the areas that hasn't really been talked about are the legal aspect of trade facilitation. There's always going to be conflict somehow, somewhere down the line. Tell me, what discussion are you bringing to the table in that particular respect to intra-Africa trade?
Thank you, Bosun. You hit the nail right on the head for me as far as I'm concerned. We, the lawyers, have looked on and with a lot of concern, a lot of worry, because when you the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, as is contemplated, trade across the continent will be underpinned by all sorts of agreements, all sorts of contracts across borders. And it is important that attention be paid now to the training of lawyers, to the building of capacity in the legal community to ensure that we as Africans can provide the required legal support for intra-Africa trade, and which is why at the Nigerian Bar Association, at the level of our respective firms, we have reached out and we're trying to work closely with the Secretariat of the AFCFTA just to ensure that at this level, because we are still at the very nascent stages, at this level, you are building capacity across the continent, that our law schools are infusing this into their curricula, conflicts of laws, international trade law. Those are things that we need capacity in. So take, for example, in America, in the States, over 1,000 lawyers in the Department of Trade. In the States, but in Nigeria and on the rest of the continent, we still struggle to find that individual who says, I specialize in international trade. So for those of us who have always been pursuing or who have been flying the flag of specialization, the time is now, because this is such a fantastic Africa Continental Free Trade Area, and the work that Afrexim is doing to facilitate trade across the continent. It is something that will need a lot of legal support, and it will break my heart if at the end of the day it is our colleagues who come from other countries, other parts of the world, to help to provide the capacity that is needed, as is the case with a lot of our sectors. There's no reason why at this stage we cannot take the legal profession on the continent along and make sure that we are able to provide the services required. So in the big law firms in Lagos, Accra, across the continent, we're already making provisions to ensure that we have, as part of our service offering, advisory services in international trade. That's why we're here. That's why a lot of us are here to say, with the lawyers that are on the table, we are needed, and there is capacity on the continent, not enough, but we can build on it.
Speaking in particular to Nigeria, what would you like to see from our trade, investment and industry department when it comes to the rights, legal understanding, knowledge, being in a position when we're signing deals, as it were, within the government?
I would like to see more capacity within government, Bosun. As you've mentioned, a lot of our government departments go out there and sign these agreements and enter into these contracts and all of that without, I don't think, enough support. Without enough support, legal support. And I think it's important. I'm very glad that the Africa Development Bank has what they call the Africa Legal Support Facility. They use that to provide training for lawyers within the continent, because they recognize that there's a lack of equivalence, or there's a problem with regard to the capacity of the African lawyers to advise their governments at the level at which the governments are playing. So I would like to see in Nigeria, for example, that more attention is paid to the training of lawyers who work for government. There's an army of them who work for government, and then even lawyers on the private side, those of us who are running law firms, that we have enough capacity and knowledge, right? We build on it so that we go with our governments across the continent to enter into these agreements. We go with the businesses. You see that Nigerian businesses are all over the continent. And with the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, they are raring to go. They want to go. The opportunity to go around the continent is so attractive, and they would like to go with their lawyers. So we need to change the conversation, curricula in the schools, in the law school. It is something that we must build on. I don't think there's anything to be worried about. I just think the best time to start anything is now, just to make sure that we are carrying along our people. Governments should not go for these meetings, for these negotiations, without carrying with them the required legal firepower, as it were, just to make sure that they are well armed. And then they are competing at equal levels. And on the continent, we have lawyers, and we have lawyers who are able to train more lawyers. If those who are pushing the envelope, those who are at the forefront of these conversations recognize that this is capacity that is required, come to the table with your lawyers.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.